Hey everyone, it's Susan. I hope you are having a great day. And first and foremost, my heart and prayers goes out to everyone in Las Vegas and the people who were affected by that. I've been sending messages all morning to friends and family in that area, and just my heart and prayers going out to everyone. And one of the things a good friend of mine said once is that as long as people are doing hurtful things in the world, we're all not working hard enough. And you know, right now is the time for unity. It's the time to be the light, for sure. Well, today we are going to talk about finishing the year strong, and here we are, and we are going into Q4 of 2017. And you are in one of a few places. So number one is you are crushing it. You're ahead of your goals in every area of your life. You feel fantastic. Or number two is you have had some wins and you've had some challenges, and that's, you know, that's normal, it happens. Or the third place you might be in is that you're feeling a little stuck. And so you don't have to confess to me about that, but just wherever you are, just know you are welcome. I believe in inclusion and acceptance. And my number one goal is that you leave these Mondays and you feel unstoppable, you feel empowered, and you feel ready. And if you're here because someone has shared this with you, I want to welcome you too. I do these every Monday at noon Pacific on my Facebook fan page. So let's talk about finishing the year. So generally speaking, in January, people set some goals. And if you set some goals for yourself, just put yes in the chat. I watch all the chat as I'm doing these. You set some goals, and you know, we do it, right? New Year's resolutions, and maybe it's like, you know, you set the goal. This is the year, this is the year I'm gonna make six figures, or I'm gonna be a millionaire, or this is the year I'm gonna lose this weight, or run a marathon, or I'm gonna find my partner, I'm gonna have a hot, steamy relationship with the one I have. And the reality is only about 8% of people actually achieve the goals they set out for themselves. And that was a study by a company called Go Banking, and they surveyed 5,000 people and found that 8% achieved their goals, 92% didn't. And so it's not too late. We have a whole quarter left, and I want to share with you some concepts that can help you finish the year and feel like an achiever. And so let's talk about some of the things that we do. So when we're contemplating really being strong and being organized and being focused, oftentimes we set goals because it seems like a good idea. Or maybe you had too much champagne on New Year's and you're like, oh, this seems like a good goal. And then as we go through the year, that voice in our head says, no, you're never going to achieve it. You don't have enough time. You don't have enough support. You're not good enough. You're a loser. Who do you think you are? No one in your family makes that kind of money. Everyone in your family is heavy. You can't be that way, or you're never going to find the perfect person because the last three people you dated were all idiots, So as that voice goes on in our head, we can have that tendency to believe it, and then we begin to go for our goal, and then we get stuck. So that can happen. We give too much power to that voice. The other thing I've found with my clients and students is that even something worse happens, and they go along and they start to get successful, and they freak out and they begin to self-sabotage themselves. And so maybe they achieve a weight they've never achieved, and suddenly they're feeling, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true. And then their bodies physically start to develop hunger, they begin to overeat, and they start to gain the weight back. That's why 98% of diets fail. Or sometimes what happens with people, I've observed this as well, they go into business, they start making money, and they replace the income they were making as an employee, and then they can never get beyond that because they begin to sabotage. And where they used to be coachable, they stop getting coachable. Where they were really listening and paying attention to people who were achieving at their level and doing what they were doing, they just stop. And then they start to blame other people. No matter what, my friends, here's the thing. We are meant to achieve, we're meant to make progress, we are meant to feel good, and we are meant to finish this year strong. And so I want to help you do just that, and maybe shift some paradigms for you so that you're in a place where you're feeling confident, you're feeling confident, and you're feeling ready and certain. So let's go ahead, and I prepared for you 8 steps to help you finish the year strong. So the first step is that you want to be very well balanced. As a balanced living expert, and you can see my blog on susansly.com, I have some great products on there as well. I really am a believer that we shouldn't just be focused on setting goals in one area of our life. We should actually set them in 7 key areas. And when I wrote the book, The Have-It-All Woman, one of the things I talked about was the life pyramid. So if you go ahead and you look at the shape of a pyramid and just draw a triangle, the base of the pyramid has to be solid, that foundation, in order for everything else to be, have that structure. So at the base of the pyramid, we put health, we put our spirituality, and we put the self-love, because when we're grounded in those things, we can do anything. And then at the next level, that's where our relationships are. And so relationship with your partner, if you have one, relationships with your individual kids, if you have them, the most important relationships to you. At the next level, that's where we put our money and our finance. So that could be your career. Many of you own businesses. I own several businesses, so that's where you put those things. And then at the next level above that, that's where we're putting contribution. So that's where we're giving back to people. And at the very top, of course, we have to have fun. So all those key areas. So that's the first step, is drawing that out. And then the second step is starting to write goals for yourself in each of those areas. So what are some things that you want to accomplish? And I would encourage you to write 3 things. So what are 3 health goals that you would like to achieve by the end of the year? What are 3 goals you'd like to achieve in terms of your spirituality and that relationship with the divine, right? And what are those things for you? And then going through with all of your individual family members and the people you care about the most, your partner, what are your goals with each of those people? And then what are your goals with your businesses, your money, your career? What are your goals in contribution? What are your goals in fun? And so you write those goals out. And a lot of you are great at writing goals, right? And you're wonderful starters. And you're like, well, Susan, yeah, whatever, yawn. I've already done that before, but I want you to write them all out. And then I want to challenge you. This is the next step, to increase all of those goals by 10%. And then I want you to decrease them by 10%. This is called the range. The reason I want you to create a range is because oftentimes, especially if you're someone who gets into overwhelm, and overwhelm is a choice, and you sabotage yourself, you're like, well, I said that I was going to do this goal and I didn't get the goal. I was going to lose 30 pounds by the end of the year and I only lost 26, so I'm a big loser. No, you're not. You're a winner. You're a champion. So we create a range because it's going to be more forgiving. Right? And so let's say, as an example, many of you are in sales. Let's say you want to have 10 new clients by the end of the year. So you decrease that by 10%. So it's 9, increase it by 10%, it's 11. So somewhere in the range of 9 to 11 new clients. So if you get 11, you're a rock star. But if you get 9, you're still a rock star. If this makes sense, say yes. If this makes sense to you, say yes. Okay? The next step that you want to do, so you've got these different goals, you've got the range, then I want you to take and narrow it down to just one goal in each of the areas. So what is your one health goal that you must achieve, right? It's not, as Tony Robbins says, it's not about your wants, it's about the must. What is the one goal in your finances that you must achieve? And I want you to take all of these 21 goals and narrow it down to just one in each area. The next step is that I want you to take a look at the past 3 quarters. And I want you to be reflective. And I don't want you to be critical of yourself. But what progress, depending where you live, what progress have you made in each of those areas? And get very clear. And some of you are like, well, I haven't made any progress. Well, in Wallace D. Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich, one of the things Wallace D. Wattles spoke about was progress. And he said, and he was very, very clear, he said, if we are not focused on progress, we are not going to move forward with our goals. And there is no progress that is too small. So let me give you an example. I have a friend, and she's actually a client of mine, and she set a goal to make an extra $30,000 this year in her home-based business. And so right now, in the first 3 quarters of the year, she's already made about $12,000. And some of you would be like, oh my gosh, she's not close, 12,000 out of 30, but she's still made progress. Do you see what I mean? She still made some progress. One of my personal goals this year was, as you all know, I had some health challenges. And one of my personal goals this year was to run a half marathon. So one of the things I did, I entered a half marathon, and I'm running that in a few weeks. And so in order to do that, the 13.1 miles, I'm upping my mileage. I have not run 13.1 miles yet, but yesterday I ran 8. Next week I'll run 9, 10, and then I'll build up to that half marathon, right? There's the progress. So even if your goal this year was to lose 30 pounds, or I like to say release 30 pounds, and you've released 1, you've got some progress. We have to be grateful for our progress. We have to measure all progress. Even if your income is down, but you're still making more income than you were last year, then you have some progress. Even if your relationship isn't quite where you want it, but you're still connecting, you've had some dates with your partner, you have some progress. Even if your goal this year was to quit your job and start a business. You started the business, but you're not making enough to quit your job yet. You're making progress. You've got to measure your progress. And one of the things that my husband and I do on Sundays, it's really cool, is when we go running all the way, we do an out and back run. When we're running all the way out, we go through, each of us, our areas of progress. So what progress did you make in your health this week? What do you feel good about? What progress did you make in your relationship with God? What do you feel good about? We do all of it. And then on the way back from the run, what goals do you have for the week? In all of the areas. And then when it's the end of the month, we do the whole month. So yesterday we went out and we were talking about the month. And I'm going to be really just honest with you. I woke up yesterday morning. I was like, I don't know what progress I've made. So I got out my journal. I started to write it out. And the more things I wrote out, I was like, wow, did I ever make a lot of progress? So we went out, we went on the run, and we're talking about the progress, running back. What are we going to achieve? I came back. I wrote those goals in, because every single day, and this is my next point for you, you want to take an action toward that goal. And between now and the end of the year, we have 3 months. So imagine if you take an action every day. Think about that. Let's say we have about 90 days left in this year. If you take one action a day on each of those 7 goals, 90 things you're going to do for each of those goals, that's huge. Think about it. 90 times 7, it's 630 actions. Do you think if you take 630 actions to what you say you want in each of those areas, that you're not going to make progress? Your life's not going to improve? You're not going to hit those goals? Of course you are. The next step is that you want to take out your schedule. Ask yourself, does my schedule align with what I say I want? If you want to grow a business and you haven't scheduled time in to do that business, I love this. I'm just going to do it in the pockets of my life. Yeah, tell that to Mark Cuban. Tell that to anyone who has a massive business. Tell that to Marie Forleo. Tell that to anyone who is out there crushing it. No. You aren't just going to do it in the pockets of your life. You have to be deliberate. You have to be scheduled. You have to be focused, right? Even Sarah Blakely, when she started Spanx, she was working at Xerox during the week. On weekends, she was doing demos at Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom. She was very scheduled. She was very organized. She was carving out the time to get things done. And if you don't know who Sarah Blakely is, of course, as I mentioned, she started Spanx and she grew a multi-billion-dollar company debt-free, which is huge. No one does that. It's amazing. So she scheduled it. She got organized. So pull out your planner and say, hey, I say I want to lose 30 pounds. Do I have my workout scheduled in? Do I have my grocery shopping time scheduled in? Do I have time to plan my meals scheduled in? I say I want to take my business to 6 figures this year and I'm at, $50,000. Is it possible? Maybe, but you're going to have to put more time in. Don't delude yourself. All things take time. And so if you want better results than you've had Q1, Q2, Q3, you're going to have to put more time in, my friends. That's just the reality. And then last step I'm going to say to you is you've got the schedule, you've picked the goals, you've narrowed them down, you've got your range, you're marking your progress. And the other thing I'm going to say is that you've really got to have these goals at the forefront. Okay. And they can't just be something you get on this Facebook Live and you're like, oh, I set some goals. That's great. So are they posted? Are they up where you can see them? And studies show that when you have a vision board, when your goals are up, you are much more likely to achieve them. And I think the number is 80% more likely. So put those goals on your bathroom mirror. Make them the first thing you see in the morning, the last thing you see at night. Do a vision board. I've got a vision board. It's just, I do it on just a little file folder like this. So do that. Put it up where you can see it. Put it up where you work, just so it's there. It's all around you. I also have a big whiteboard, and right now I have 3 companies, if you can imagine, and I have my top goals for every week. I only write 3 per company, 3 things that I'm going to achieve in each of those areas. Then I have, personal goals, financial goals, different things. They're up on my whiteboard. They're always there. So when we have our goals at the forefront, I always say this, what's at the forefront of our minds is at the forefront of our actions, okay? And then we're much more deliberate. So with that, guys, here's the thing. You can achieve, you can be more, you can have more, you can do more, and you can do it all in a very balanced way, but it's not going to happen if you're not organized. So with that, hopefully if this has been helpful, I'd love for you to share it. I really do appreciate it. I do read all of your comments. My website is www.susansly.com. I've got amazing free resources on there, including a life planner. It's absolutely free. If you go under the shopping section, you go down there, there's a life planner, and it goes through all the 7 areas. So I've laid it all out for you. You can go get that. It is awesome. So with that, God bless. Go out there and rock your day. I hope you're having an amazing day. And we'll be back here next week. All right. Take care, everyone.